Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. I'm so Ray. My videos are about love, infinity, creation, energy, because we're infinite love, infinite energy, infinite creation. This is who we are. These are our instincts as a human race. You see, the primordial instinct of the human species is the human heart. It's the heartbeat, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. Everything generates as a result of that. We have the electromagnetic field of creation as a result of this. And this electromagnetic field of creation, the epicenter is the human heart. And the space structure density of that sphere, that electromagnetic field, which is spherical in nature, is us, the human body, our consciousness and self-awareness, who we are as a species. And as it is in existence, a singularity is the epicenter of a sphere. It happens at the epicenter. It's the energy, the release point at the epicenter. And this energy is released from the tension of the sphere. So the singularity is a singular point where all points meet. And there is an infinite number of points on the electromagnetic field of the sphere. The electromagnetic field of the tension of it. And then all these points meet at the epicenter, which is the singularity. And it generates a vortex. It's this vortex, it's this wormhole, the epicenter of it at the heart, and the energy is released from there. And all the energy is released within the space structure of that sphere, right? The space and vacuum dynamics within it, which is holding it together. So this is the energy of infinity. This is this super stable, and this is just infinity, spherical energy in nature. Everything is spherical in nature. Everything that is conscious and aware and self-aware and loves is spherical in nature. And we are precisely that because of the human heart. You see, the human heart is a biological singularity. It's the epicenter of the electromagnetic field that is generated as a result of the pulse of life, the pulse of creation, the human heartbeat, the primordial instinct, the one that gives us life, so we're here. So you see, the electromagnetic field is generated from the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. And this electromagnetic field is this sphere surrounding the human body. That right? And the space structure of that is us, the human body. It's the space structure within the sphere. And the epicenter of it is the human heart. The heart is at the heart of it. That's why it's called a heart. It's the heart of it. It's the core of it. It's the center, the epicenter of the sphere. Right in the middle of it. And that pulse is that energy from the electromagnetic field of it. It's powerful. So on the highest point, always the hottest point, the brightest point is always the point of release of energy that generates the electromagnetic field. And what's the highest energy that we can so the epicenter is the heart. So what is the highest energy that we can generate with the human heart? Well, the highest energy that we can generate with the human heart is love. Love is the highest energy of creation. So you see, the primordial instinct, so we exist, is the human heart, the biological creator, the human heartbeat, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. And then what comes as a result of that? The highest energy that it can emit, right? Because the highest energy leads to the highest creation, just like the central sun of our universe, which is where we inhabit. We inhabit the periphery, the proximity of the central sun of existence, because we happen to be at the epicenter of the universe. This is our location. This is where our sun is. Is the singularity of the universe. We have this very special location, this incredible location as a species, where we originated from the heart of the universe, from the epicenter of it, the very core. So because of these, we evolved to be one with the creator, which lies spherical energy, the sun, the central sun, where all the energy came out of, that created all the galaxies and our galaxy itself all over the universe, because it's a tension on the surface of the electromagnetic field of the universe, which is the space of the universe. So all the points meet at the epicenter, which is the energy release, and that it looks in the way of energy as the central sun, our sun, the epicenter of creation. The very first sun, the sun of suns, the first sun, the central sun, where all the energy comes out of and creates everything. So because the sun created us, our central sun. We are the image of the sun because that's how creation is. Creation creates creators, and creators create creations. So the central sun, the creator, created us, and we are the image of it, just at the biological scale. So we are energy, spherical energy, just like the central sun. You see, exactly the same because of the human heartbeat. And the human heartbeat is a biological singularity that generates that electromagnetic field. You see, that is us. So we exist. So it's spherical in nature, electromagnetic field. You see, spherical energy, just like the spherical energy of the sun. We are the biological scale of infinity. This is who we are. So what is the meaning of this? Well, the meaning of this is very simple. Is that because the epicenter of the human heart is the highest energy release, just like the sun is the brightest point and the hottest point where all the elements come out, photons and hydrogen and helium, and everything is formed as a result by feeling the differential thresholds, these electrogravity differential thresholds within the space structure of the universe, which is within the electromagnetic field of the universe. And all the galaxies are formed as a result of that space vacuum that is filled in spherical vacuum threshold. So new singularities emerge at the epicenter of those electromagnetic fields of the galaxy, and that's the central sun of any galaxy. But we happen to be the epicenter of the universe, the first galaxy, the first sun, the energy release point of the tension on the electromagnetic field of the universe itself. So we're a big creation. So we are at the very heart of it, the very epicenter. So our heart plays the role of the central sun at the scale of our biology, each human body. You see, and because the highest energy, the release point, is where all the points meet, that's where the energy is created of infinity, because all the tension on the surface of the electromagnetic field, all those points, infinite number of points on the surface of the tension, they are channeled they're connected at the epicenter. And that epicenter is the central sun, the singularity as it is known. And our singularity is the biology of the human body. So you see, it's the same. So what's the highest energy at the epicenter of the human body? The energy that we can create is love. It's the highest energy of creation, who we are. You see, we wouldn't know anything. We would know nothing. We wouldn't know anything. We wouldn't exist. Nothing would exist because we wouldn't exist. So we wouldn't know that something exists if it wasn't because of the primordial instinct, which is the human heart. You see, the human heartbeat, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. And the highest energy from the epicenter, our singularity that generates the electromagnetic field so we can exist, is love. And as a result of that energy, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation, we're conscious, we're self-aware. And we understand that we have senses and we're intelligent and sentient. You see, because it's the singularity of all the organs and glands of the body in resonance with the human heartbeat, the highest energy of creation. And then everything happens as a result, so we understand who we are and our nature, our evolution, the space structure, density of our sphere, the light spherical energy, who we are. So remember, because love is the highest energy, and then we're conscious and self-aware, and we know that everything is. So we are everything, because without us, we wouldn't know that anything exists. So we are you see, the biological scale of creation there. We are infinity ourselves, just like the singularity at the epicenter of our universe, infinity ourselves, but at the biological scale, because we're conscious of who we are. And we're conscious that we're one with infinity, and we are ourselves a singularity. So you see, it's all of this as one. And because of it, love is the highest energy of creation, because it's the highest energy that the human heart can generate. So we can be conscious, we can be self-aware, we can love, we can create, we sense, we have feelings, emotions, we're intelligent, thoughts, beliefs. So, and because the central sun of the universe, our sun, at the epicenter releases all this energy, right? All these elements, hydrogen, helium, light, photons, all that essentially moves across infinity itself, and it starts to create galaxies by filling those spherical vacuum thresholds within the space structure of the tension of the electromagnetic field, which is the surface of the sphere of the universe. So then again, we are the same at the biological scale. So we create our own primary elements, just like the sun creates elements. At the epicenter of it, the highest, the fusion reaction, the hottest point, the brightest point, we ourselves do the same at the biological scale. And those are our primary elements as compass: identity and true self, purpose, time and energy, action, why, how, flow, true north and destination. Why? Because we understand our nature. You see, by being conscious and self-aware and knowing that love is the highest energy, then we are first off, the first primary element is identity and true self, because we need to know that we exist. And for us to know that we exist and we're conscious and self-awareness and infinite love and infinite energy and we're the biology of infinity, we need to know who we are. And that is called an identity and true self. You see, knowing our nature, our genesis, who we are as a species, our role, being the species that inhabits the central planet of the universe. And we evolve into light spherical energy. We're light spherical beings ourselves because we were created in the image of the Creator. Because creation creates creators and creators create creation. So we are a big creation and therefore we became creators. Because we channel the energy of infinity through us with the love of our hearts. And that energy comes from the central sun and we consume that energy. We can stare at the sun and that energy comes through us. And then we use that energy to evolve and love and create more. With sundials, we open the portal, we build the bridge. You see, we stare at the sun, we open our minds, open our hearts, open our eyes, and use that energy to evolve into infinity, understand our nature, being grounded with the electromagnetic field of the sun and the earth as one. That's what the portal is the sun iris nexus. It's a human practice that we all engage in because our eyes have evolved for this. So we can absorb the energy of the sun through our eyes and create with it as a result. Because we are that. We are the biological expression of infinity because we are self-aware and conscious of infinity itself and what it is, and we are it at the biological scale. We created ourselves by evolving into this level of infinity and consciousness and self-awareness. We're an amazing species. We're incredible. We are the epicenter of everything. As I said, the universe. We are that. We are that species. This is who we are. An incredible species, a remarkable species. And like everything that has a singularity, which is everything that exists that is conscious and self-aware and has the ability to love and create, the highest point of release is the highest energy, and that is the epicenter, and that's the singularity. In our case, the highest energy that our heart can generate, which is our biological creator, the singularity, is love. So as a result of love, then we can understand who we are because we exist. And then we become conscious and self-aware. That's why that's the first primary element, because we need to know who we are. We need to know our identity and true self. So with that, then once we know who we are, that we're infinite eternal creators and we're compass and we're sandos and we manifest all our free will and we manifest all these primary elements, we're creating it with the energy of love, then we can with our free will, choose what we do with the energy of love that we have in our hearts, our consciousness of awareness, our intelligence, and that is purpose. You see, what we purposeful, so our love becomes purposeful. It's purposeful love. So we start to create with the energy of love, with intention. So we channel the energy that we, channel through our eyes, the energy of the sun. We channel it through our heart and we create the most beautiful things. You see, that's what we do. This is our species. This is who we are. This is the human race. And this is what this video is about. This video is precisely about that. It's this infinite virtuous cycle. It's this infinite virtuous cycle of sperm and egg. You see, because a virtuous cycle is virtuous because it's infinite in nature, because its components, its elements, its parts lead to a singularity at the epicenter, which is infinity. And what is this infinity? Well, this infinity is known as life, who we are, our life form, our DNA, the human species. And you need the polarity. You need these two elements, duality principles, to create life. And at the biological scale, how do we reproduce ourselves? So we sustain ourselves, and we are in the billions now, and into the future we will be an infinite number of us. We need the two building blocks, and these two building blocks are sperm and egg. You see the polarity right there, the seed of life, sperm, and the egg that gets essentially, it gets fecunded by, the word escapes my mind. But essentially, it becomes fertile. As a result, the egg is fertile, so it can sustain life, right? It comes together as one, and the gestation process starts, the embryonic development onto Genesis. You see the creation of life itself. But it starts with the first two, having the sperm and having the egg, so life can be created, right? So it's beautiful. It's who we are. It's beautiful. It's our nature. And what happens with these two opposites meet at the epicenter? This is polarity. Right, and that's what electromagnetism is, spherical energy. So the polarities, the charges meet the opposite, the sperm and the egg come together as one, and it generates this electromagnetic field of creation. And this electromagnetic field of creation is, what does it do? Well, it's an electromagnetic field, it's spherical in nature, it has an epicenter of it, and that is the singularity. And what is that? Life. Life itself, because these two came together as one. You see, this infinite virtuous cycle, and all virtuous cycles are infinite in nature because it creates the duality principles require the polarity, the charges that generate the electromagnetic field required for all these motions to lead to electrogravity, telemetry, and having a singularity at the epicenter. The singular point where all points meet, life. Because when life is that, being conscious, being self-aware of our nature. And for us to understand our nature, we need to understand the building blocks of our nature. And this is a fundamental virtuous cycle because it's sperm and egg. You see, it starts there at the polarity. So where does this sperm come from? Well, it comes from the male, right? From the male. And the male, in this case, I am a male. So I have sperm inside of me. And where does this sperm come from? It comes from a gland. And this gland is called the testicles. So we have testicles, and this energy is secreted from the testicle in the way of cells. And these seeds rise what we call sperm. And inside of there is all our genetic code, all the building blocks of who we are, all our ancestry, all our ancestors, our predecessors, or our heritage and legacy. All the information encoded in our DNA is of the male is contained within the sperm. Okay, everything. And then what's the opposite of it? Well, the opposite of it is the egg. And the egg comes from the female, right? Which is the polarity of men and women, male, female. You see the opposites attract. Opposites attract, positivity, negativity. And in this case, because of our nature, we're like spherical energy. There's not a role of, men is positive and women is negative, or vice versa. Men is negative and women is positive. No, because we're like spherical energy ourselves. We have an electromagnetic field, so we are both. It's the polarity of our own. We have the polarity of our own existence, which is a human heartbeat, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation. The creator itself, the biological creator, the biological singularity. You see, and we make love and we have children, which is sperm and egg together as one. You see, so all these concepts are connected because this is who we are as a species. So you see, is the polarities meeting at these two full polarities. You see, all with their own positivity and their negativity, with their own charge, or electromagnetism, or electromagnetic field of creation. And because each of us represent an opposite, a duality principle, male and female, it's a duality principle, right? It's the two spectrums of the race. Because when these two meet, then life is created as a result, right? We make love, we have children, we reproduce, right? We become parents as a result. I spoke about parent and children, infinite virtue cycle earlier, but this one is the next level because it's sperm and egg. Is what makes parents, is what makes children. The sperm and egg coming together. So you see, so then that's the sperm, right? The seed of life. The seed comes from the male, from the gland, from the testicles. That is all the genetic information encoded in those cells in the way of sperm, and then that information is given and makes that egg fertile. So the egg gets fertilized. It's fecundation. So fecunded, which means gestation starts, the life process starts because the opposites meet and create a new polarity, which is this new organism that comes together as one when sperm and egg come together. Okay, so I spoke about the sperm coming from the male, this part of the duality principle of the human race, because we're two, right? With male and female, with female and male, women, men, men, women, right? We come together with the duality of a species. You see, duality principles in our own species is incredible. So then, because of it, then what's the opposite of the male? The polarity of it, right? The female. So the female is what? Well, the female has her own gland, and this gland is known as the ovary, right? The ovary. And in the ovaries, women have two. You see, then again, duality principles. How many ovaries do women have? Two, right? Representing duality principles. You see, together again, two, because of the polarity. You need that. And how do they look like? They're spherical in nature. You look at the ovary, where the gland, where the egg is created, is secreted, this beautiful cellular structure. Is spherical in nature. The egg is spherical, and the gland is spherical as well. You see, because nature is spherical. Everything is spherical. And then look at the testicles. Then again, we have two testicles. Polarity again, the duality principles. You need two testicles. Why? Because it's the way nature works. And then how do they look? Well, testicles are spherical in nature as well. If you look at the testicles, they're spherical in nature. There is a gland. A testicle is a gland. And this gland secretes sperm. And this sperm is the encoded information of the male. Everything, his DNA structure, and everything that has to do with the heritage, the legacy, the predecessors, everything that is encoded in the makeup. And the female is the counterpart, is the opposite, is the polarity. So the ovary generate, each of them, they generate eggs. It's through the process, menstruation, and all the women's cycle. It's a normal cycle that they, once a month, they become fertile. They create this egg that is ready, ovulation, right? So it can be fertilized by sperm. So you see, and it's an instinct, right? Women and men, we inherit. It's an instinct, it's pheromones. We have this instinct to reproduce, so we attract each other. You see, opposites attract. And how do we attract each other? Through signaling. Signaling. And what is the signaling? Pheromones, neurotransmitters, hormones. So we attract each other and we procreate. Copulation. So we come together. And this is beautiful action. We make love and then we reproduce. You see, when the two come together as one, we make love and then life is created as a result. It is as simple as that, right? So you see, sperm and egg together as one is this infinite virtuous cycle that leads to life. But you see, it's all because of polarity. The polarity is there at all scales of creation. You see, the glands that secrete this cellular structure, which is the egg and the sperm, that contains all the genetic structure, all the genetic information of the ancestors, predecessors, of these two individuals that come together as one, and they decide to procreate and make life. You see, it's amazing. So this is who we are as a species. This is our nature. You see, sperm and egg together as one. And then what happens as a result? Well, the male provides the seed, right? And the sperm fertilizes the egg, the fertility of it, because the egg is healthy, and that fecundation. So the process of life starts, because the moment these two come together as one, you see polarity, they attract. It's not only the female and the male that are attracted to each other with pheromones, with hormones, and with neurotransmitters. All these emotions, all these feelings that attract us to each other. And because we're highly complex, we have all sorts of ways to justify the reproduction of it, because we love each other and all these different things. All these things that bound us, right? They bound us into one. They make us come together, so we procreate and we create life. Because our instinct is to love our creation. You see, we love each other, so we want to be together. And we want to create life together because we love each other. You see, it's this attraction. You see the bonding mechanism, love. And then we create life, and then we love our creation, our children, as a result. It's this beautiful mechanism of creation based on energy at different scales, biochemistry, hormones, neurotransmitters, and pheromones. So you see, it's all together as one, all working together as one, all working together as one. You see, all working together as one, all working together as one, all of it working together as one. You see, it's all these organs. You see, the ovaries has these glands where the eggs come from, right? And the testicles are these organs, just because the ovary per se, the ovary is an organ. It's the reproductive organ of the female, and the testicles and all these, the whole apparatus is the organ of the male. But those organs have these glands attached to them. The testicles is the gland, and then the ovary has these. The ovaries have this gland that's where the egg comes from, and then the testicle is where sperm comes from. But if you add it all up, all the parts that make the reproductive apparatus of the male and the female, the whole, when you add it all up, it just becomes an organ. But this gland is in the organs. You see the polarity right there. You got the glands attached to the organs. You see the polarity together, organs and glands. You see, it's all that humanity It's all about duality principles. It's all about these electromagnetism, creation, spherical energy. So essentially, so what happens is that, right? So the male provides the seed, and they fertilizes the egg, and then the male, that's what the male does. The male does the job, and then the female keeps the egg inside of her, because that egg, that once it's fertilized, is a healthy egg fecundation. One is fecunded, to fecund the egg, right? The fecundation process. So if you understand what this means, is the process in which these two opposites meet, because the male and the female met and reproduction took place, right? Copulation. And when that exercise took place, which is an instinct, it's a natural thing that we do because of all the hormones and all the neurotransmitters and all the pheromones coming together as one in the act. So we release, right? Because the male releases the seed, the sperm, by stimulation. So we get stimulated, and which is energy. Stimulation is energy. So we get stimulated, so we release this creation, the sperm. And the female gets stimulated, and when it's ovulating at the right time, when we both in heat, when we are ready, fertile eggs ready, then the egg is released as part of the stimulation process of the gland, because that's the primal time for reproduction, because all the instincts are there for the female wanting to ovulate and make that egg fertile to create life. You see, and there's all sorts of instincts that we have when we feel that we want to, ovulation process. So it happens. It's a natural process. You see, so we attract each other. You see, polarity, attracting through all these hormones, through all these neurotransmitters, through all these pheromones. So the action of coming together as one, so the release of these glands happen as a result. And then we have all these different bond mechanics, because the idea that we do it, our instinct is to love each other. So when we reproduce, then we create children, we create life. So that's how the process works, right? At the most instinct base, this is how we operate as a species. This is our reproductive mechanisms of our instincts. So then what happens as a result? Well, the egg gets fertilized, right? It's a fertile egg. It has the seed in it. So, but the egg needs a host. If it's a fertile egg, it needs a host. And the female, the organ, the reproductive organ of the female is incredible, because it has, once the egg is fertile, that comes out of the gland, once the egg is fertile, right? Once the egg is fertile, what does it do? Well, it starts to grow inside, right? It starts very small, but it grows. And we call that ontogenesis, embryonic development. And the organ, the human body, has the ability, in this case the female, which is what doing most of the heavy lifting in the end, carrying the baby as the host, right? It creates a placenta, it creates a womb, right? From the organs. The organ itself is starting, and what does that womb look like? A placenta, they all spherical, they get filled up. It's a spherical thing. You see, bellies are round, right? Then again, another proof that nature is spherical. Life itself is spherical. It's the biology of it, because the glands of the ovary that create that secrete the eggs are spherical, the testicles are spherical. Our electromagnetic fields are spherical, that attracts us to each other. And we justify that with all these different natural mechanisms, hormones and neurotransmitters, emotions, feelings, pheromones, and we come together as one. Okay, and then the egg is spherical as well, and so the sperm, the seed, is so it has a body, but it also has the head, like the brains of it, and that's spherical in nature, where all the information contains, because the body is just so it moves, so it gets to the egg. Okay, but it's mostly spherical. Where the DNA content is that matters, the genetic structure is all spherical. You see, everything's spherical. It's all spherical. Because the moment the information, right, the genetic structure goes inside the egg and the egg gets fertilized as a result, the gestation starts, then the tail of it drops off. So it's a spherical thing that goes in. That's just so it makes it. You see, nature has this ability because it's just incredible. Our DNA is amazing. Okay, so what happens then? Well, so the body slowly but surely starts to form life. Ontogenesis starts, right? Ontogenesis. Creation itself, right? At the biological scale, us, our future generations, our offsprings, our children. So you see inside the mama's womb, right? The placenta and all that. But it starts very small and then forms into a zygote. And then all these cells eventually, they start to group into different parts that eventually become the body of the embryo. That leads to a fetus and then leads to a baby, and then the baby is born, right? After, 9+ months. Okay, the average birth, a healthy birth is around 9 months plus. For example, my kid, he was 10+ months. He was a big boy when he was born because he came way later. He wanted his time in there. So essentially, if you understand what this means, right? If you understand what this means, then you immediately start to realize what this is creation itself. You see this infinite, you see the sperm and the egg in this infinite virtuous cycle come together as one and form life, us. Because I was created by the combination of sperm and egg. And not only me, everyone, all humans were created from egg and sperm as one. You see, they come together in their own polarities, attracting each other because they have receptors and signals. They're sending signals. So the egg is sending a signal, and the sperm is seeking that signal, right? So its opposites attract. You see, it's the signal that brings them together in the process. It's amazing, you see, because it's polarity, it's energy, it's charge, it's electromagnetism, it's all biochemistry. It's incredible. And it all has to do with our DNA structure. So then formation of life starts inside the womb, right? Eventually when the womb forms, but before the womb, there is the zygote and this, and it's a process. And then that gets essentially after that process, then that moves into a position in which, the womb forms and the placenta forms. And then that starts to form into life, right? Because all these comes out of it. All these parts come out of this beautiful thing that forms, and then is connected through a cord to the mother. So then the mother feeds it, right? And then, but how does this process work? Because of the heart. And this is where everything starts, because the heartbeat is everything in the end. Because in the beginning is the heartbeat of the male and the heartbeat of the female. You see, when you love someone and you want to reproduce and you want to be with that person, your heartbeat accelerates. It's an instinct, right? Because you feel it. And both the female and the male is the heartbeat going really hard, very fast. You see, and you see, it's all these instincts. It starts with the attraction because the heart is the one that attracts and then releases everything, and it happens as a result. And that's why we love with our hearts. We love with our hearts because it's where the energy of instinct of creation comes from. Because it's the pulse. So a pulse is what attracts to things, right? So the electromagnetism, it has a polarity, and it has its own electromagnetic tension, its own gravitics. And that is a sphere, right? And it attracts to the opposite, which is the female and the male in this case, when reproduction happens. Because in modern society, as we know, we're not necessarily male and female. We can be male and male, and we can go female and female as well. We understand these because in the end, if it's female and female, you still have a heart and you still love that person. Because you still have your pheromones, you still have your hormones, you still have your neurotransmitters. You're still an electromagnetic field, and you're still loving and you're still creating. You're still attracting to each other. because both of you have the polarities already in you. You see, that generates the heartbeat. The contraction and the retraction is a polarity that generates the electromagnetic field. So that is the attraction there. And then the males are the same. Men and men can be together as well because they attract each other because of the pheromones, because of the everything. You see, is that. So that's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about the act of, sperm and egg that created those two in the first place. Whoever they are, female, male, 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 female, female. It doesn't really matter. In the end, that female, that male that come together, or those two males that come together, or those two females that come together, they in the end were created by sperm and egg. Right? So you see, even if they're modern families, traditional ways of, engaging in copulation, you still engage in the process of attracting each other because of the electromagnetism of the human heart, because you feel that it's a rhythm, it's a pulse, love, and you feel it in the way of emotions and all that allow you to create a bond with that person so you can actually be intimate with that person. So if you understand these, then you understand the nature of what I'm talking about, which is this principle, this Genesis principle, this proto-meta system, this duality principle, which is sperm and egg coming together and creating life. So then we can be adults, and as adults we choose our partners, we choose who we copulate with. This is our nature, because we're conscious and self-aware. Why? Because we're intelligent, because we have free will, and we choose. We make our choices based on whatever we want. You see, our choice. We choose whether we want to be with the opposite agenda or we want to be with the same one. It doesn't matter. Because in the end, the attraction still happens. We're still attracted because it's our instinct, you see? And where is this attraction coming from? From the heart. Because of the electromagnetism that creates the polarity in the first place, that generates the electromagnetic field, so we exist. So we can be conscious and self-aware, and we have emotions and feelings, and we secrete hormones, and our glands start to do everything that we do. If it's testicles or if it's ovaries, it doesn't matter. You see, it's our instincts. It's our instincts to come together as a species because we attract each other. You see, it's our nature. And how long have we been doing this? Since we exist. Because it's our instinct. It's our instinct. To come together is our instinct. It's our instinct. Okay, so then remember the nature of this video, which is sperm and egg coming together as one, creating life. And we are the life. We are the human heartbeat. So then again, when the egg gets to that stage in the beginning, it exists because of the human heartbeat of the mother that sustains that life form. But around the 20th day or the 22nd day, that all these cells that are together already, bigger than a zygote, that comes together and it forms its own pulse of life, its own pulse of creation, its own heartbeat, its own heart. Very small, but it's there. And then the system gets fed by the energy from that pulse. And then the body starts to form faster and the cell starts to group faster, because once the heartbeat of the embryo forms as a result of all the support systems and all the cells that already created the conditions for that heartbeat to be generated, so it has an electromagnetic field strong enough to create a singularity without the support of the mom's heart. What happens? What happens? Immediately, the process ontogenesis accelerates exponentially, because now it has its own decentralized system to send more signals faster. Because this signal is faster than the signal coming from there, because it's a lot closer to the epicenter of this new creation. All these cell groupings that are starting to divide into different parts of the human body. And all that information is encoded in the DNA, because each cell has DNA. So the heart signaling is signaling each cell and the DNA structure within each cell to divide and subdivide and start to decode new cell structures based on the needs and the requirements. And when are these needs when are these requirements and thresholds met? Based on feedback. The system is intelligent because it's the epicenter. You see, it's all the information on the tension of the surface, which is all the cells. And at the epicenter is the heart. And because the heart is already generating an electromagnetic field around that, there is telemetry of all these electrogravitics, which is all these phenomena that is forming, all this electricity, all these cells splitting and creating new cells, right? But that pulse, the heartbeat, is signaling all the cells, asking for a life status of where are we at, and then when the cell gets that feedback, immediately replies saying this is where we at, this is the stage at which we at. And because of this feedback, that electricity keeps on going until the new state is achieved. So the cell divides into the DNA starts to form into a different pattern, because it doesn't need to form, say, this, because this is fully created, this organ was created, so let's create this. And everything kind of happens simultaneously, but they kind of, depending on the complexity and the of the organ or the gland or the structure, it takes longer, because there's so much requirements, so much energy that is needed. Because remember that the signal is there is the DNA key. The heartbeat is just the signal, so the DNA key just decodes the information that needs to form that specific cell structure that still has the DNA in it, so each cell can be intelligent enough to know what its purpose is, right? Because it's been decoded in that way. The DNA is incredible. Okay, so what happens is the duality nature. The human heart is not only there to signal the cells, so the growth happens, but it's also there to signal the mother. And the mother is also signaling. Why? Because as it's starting to develop and this structure grows, you need to support the growth. And that growth is supported by the mother in the way of the cord and in the way of the placenta and the womb and all the connectivity that happens. The womb, where gestation is taking place. So as the heartbeat is decentralized and starting to create this life form, because of all the process that took place before, then it's a dual nature. Duality is always dual in nature. That's the nature of duality. So as it generates this signal to keep the system going, life status of the formation of all the cell structures to form the body, at the same time it's also signaling the mother. So he's saying, look, we are at this stage. We're developing this organ. We need this type of nutrient. We need this type of amino acid. We need this type of food source. We need this intake. And then that signal goes to the mother. And then the systems of the mother picks up that signal through the heart. And it's the heart that sends that signal across the body. And because then again, it's a fully grown body. So it's a signal, right? And that signal is life status, because the epicenter, the singularity, is the human heart. So that singularity sends the signal and it fits all the body. So all the information gets collected because all the cells of the body gets that signal from the heartbeat. Just like in the baby forming there, the embryo, the fetus, depending on the stage, the mother as an adult still has a heartbeat, an adult heartbeat, a strong, healthy heartbeat. So that heartbeat is the signal that is informing the whole body, all the cells in the body and the DNA in them, and say, hey, this is what we need. We need this. And what we need is this type of molecule, this breakdown to feed the creation, because it's growing and it's at this stage and it needs this type of amino acid, it needs this type of nutrient, it needs this type of input. And then that is moved through the cord. But in order for it to get to the cord, it needs to be communicated in the mama's body. So that information, all that is decoded, and all the body starts to move all these resources required through the organs and the glands, secreting them in the first place and moving it across the body. And it goes to the fetus or the embryo or the baby if it's a big baba already. So, and then that energy goes in there, you see, and then the new information comes in, and then the heartbeat keeps on pumping that right? Because it's also moving that through the systems, because it's not only signaling electricity, it's also moving all those nutrients around with the pulse of it. So it moves across all the cells. You see, because the heart is connected to everything. There's veins and arteries everywhere, right? And what do you think is being moved through those veins and arteries? Everything. So the cells grow into the signaling that is required because of the DNA, because it's at that threshold, at that level of development. So you see, it's an infinite cycle. You see, and it all started with these duality principles of sperm and egg coming together as one, creating life. And one life is created, the heartbeat forms, and there's two heartbeats, the moms and the babas, together in this infinite cycle of creation that leads to the baby and that life form. You see, because of the signaling of the heart. The heart is the most important organ, as I said. Without the heart, nothing would exist. It's the smartest organ, and it's the most important one. So we are a heartful species. We are a heart-based species, which is what we are. All the other organs and glands in the body are essentially, it's like the universe. So the singularity, right? The central sun is our sun that creates everything in the universe, right? All the galaxies and everything forms, all the life forms result from the light that originates from the singularity of the universe, and it happens to be the central sun where we're located. Okay, so it is the same with the heart. The heart is the epicenter of the electromagnetic field that creates the human body in the first place, with conscious and self-aware. You see, without a heart we wouldn't exist. So the heart is the most important thing. Is the brains, is everything of everything. See, there is neurons in the heart for a reason. We have neurons in the heart. Why? Because these are the neurons that are communicating to the neurons in the brain what the brain is to do. It's not the way around. It starts with the heart. The heart is the one that tells the brain what to do because it's signaling. The signal comes from the heart, right? And that's why there is neurons in the heart, because in that way it can communicate with the heart, with the brain. So the brain then works as a processor. So what the brain really is, so the brain is like a processor. The brain is a processor that processes all the signals from the heart. And through that processing, then it distributes tasks accordingly to all the other organs as a result. But the signal comes from the heart first. You see, that's why there is neurons in the heart. So the heart can communicate on the same language as the brain by having neurons, dendrites, and axia and the axioms, I think it's called. Don't remember. It's the two parts of the cell, the brain cell. So these two send signals, and that information through the nervous system then gets communicated immediately because it's a signal to the heart, to the brain, and then the brain does the processing. And the brain is like, think of the brain, it does the processing once the signal is given from the heart. And then it also it's a mechanism where we process a lot of things. It's a processor. It's a processor. What the brain is a processor because it processes and decodes all the signals. But the signal that creates everything is the heart, because the heart is the epicenter. Remember, the heart is what moves everything through the body. Everything is moved because of it. When we breathe oxygen, the oxygen goes in through our nostrils, right, into our lungs. And where does the oxygen go the moment it hits the lungs? So we can process it and break it down in the lungs and load it up and distribute it. Where does it go? It goes to the heart. Why? Because the heart is the one that pumps it and distributes that oxygenated stream to all the body. So oxygen is this fuel, right? So oxygenated streams, right? Moving everything through the body because it's the energy, right? The energy that is charge. It's electric charge moving and then doing empowering everything, the resonance of it, right? The human body is incredible. But it's all because of the heart. The epicenter of it is the heart. You see, the brain is just this processor. The brain is, because if you think of the brain, what is the brain? Well, the brain is where we decode our senses, our perceptions, so we understand everything that we see with our space, structure, density, which is our body. But we wouldn't exist if it wasn't because of the heartbeat that powers the brain in the first place. So the brain can be, exist, process. Because the job of the brain is just a processor. Is what it is. It processes. And the way of processing is encoding and decoding. It encodes and decodes, encodes and decodes, encodes and decodes, encodes and decodes. What? Signals. Hormones and neurotransmitter. Signaling, electrical current. That's what the brain does. It's all it does. And that information is moved across. As a result of what? The feedback loop. The first feedback, which is the brain, the heart. The heart sends the signal based on what? The life state of the body. Because the heart reaches, with that electricity, that pulse reaches all the cells in the body. And then the DNA in each of the cells get, just like the formation of the body, when you're creating life within the body, that information gets feedback back to the brain. And when that information gets back, then that signal updates the whole system. And then once that is an update because of the pulse, which generates the electromagnetic field that creates life in the first place, so we exist, then that information then is decoded by the brain or encoded and moved across the systems for processing, or for output, input. Like the organs and everything else does whatever they have to because they've been signaled, because the brain is the processor. It's processing and decoding and encoding everything that is being given to it by the signals from the heart. That's why there is neurons in the heart. So the heart can communicate with the brain. So the brain does everything else. Okay? That's the way it works. So then again, but you see the oxygen, which is so vital, we need it, right? From the lungs straight into the heart. And then the heart moves that signal. And then the brain does the rest. So you see, it's this beautiful mechanism. It's all connected. And then you apply that to the baby, and it's that, right? It's the sperm and the egg that led to these systems. So you see, it's infinite creation of life. And this is what this virtuous cycle is. This virtuous cycle is precisely this. It's life itself as a result of this duality principle. Opposites attracting in the way of polarity, charge, and coming together as one in their own electromagnetic fields that create what? The new life form. The embryo that becomes a fetus, that becomes a baby, and then it becomes a human. And then we as adults we are what we are. And what's that energy? Is love. It's the highest energy of creation. It's the singularity of the human heart. So love is the highest energy. So when we love, because remember, when we're loving, right, as now that you're born, right, and it's an instinct to love, right? That's why it's sperm and egg, because what are we creating? We're creating life. And the instinct is to love our creation, right? So we love our children. That's what we do. We love our children, right? It's our instinct. We love our children. And we know what that feeling is because no other feeling feels like the love that we have for our children. Because it came from us. You see, it's our DNA. It came from us. We created it. And we have this affinity with it because of the electromagnetic fields, because it's us. It's the closest thing to us in terms of DNA structure. You see, it's even closer than twins, because twins is just a duplicate of who you are, but they have their own ways. But this is a different level because it's your creation. It came out of you. You didn't create the twin. The twin was created at the same time as you were. Right? There is a lot of affinities there, and it's the closest affinity that we humans can have to another human that is not our children, a twin, because of all the resonance. And we were essentially either sharing the same womb or wombs next to each other. So we shared a lot from that moment that we were created by this egg and this sperm, because it was one, right? It's what are twins? Yeah. Twins is this ability, right? This ability, hey, it's an instinct. It happens sometimes to be able to two coming out of one, or three, if it's triplets or whatever. So but they're not that common, right? But the common, this is duality again. You see, duality D, twins A, duality. So, okay, so you see, so is that mechanism. So we love our children, this instinct to love them, because it's our creation. It came out of us. It came out of us, right? And then those children are seeking us, right? The first thing that they do is imprinting, eye contact with the parents, feeling that. and wanting that moment they're out, because it's the instinct. It's an instinct. It's we're alive now, we're breathing, okay, we're here. And then the parent is there, right? Immediately tend to be breastfed. If not, then just that body heat, right? Skin on skin with the parents, say the mom, the dad, all that. If that's what happens in that case, if the baby has the luxury of having parents, okay. So you see, is that. So it's this beautiful mechanism. And what is that instinct? You see, it's instinct after instinct. And what's the instinct of love? To love our creation. So love was the one that attracted us in the first place, to gave the instinct, that signaling to the body. So we procreated, because we signal the DNA structure of those glands and these organs that were the ones engaged in the action, right? So it was the heart always along. Hey, it's the heart, always the heart. So then that leads to what? The same instinct of we created this, so we love it. And that creation loves us back. So it's this beautiful thing, right? Beautiful thing. Whether that creation is a female or a male matters not, because the bond is there. And then that creation, our children, then they themselves are capable of doing that, having an egg or a sperm and procreating themselves as they develop when they're adults. You see, it's a process that goes to infinity, never ends, because this is the nature of our species. This is the very nature of our species, to create to infinity. That's why we're in the billions. And as we move in the future, we're going to be many more. So you see, this video is about this virtuous cycle of sperm and egg together as one, creating life. And the outcome of it is attraction, is love, right? Bond. This bond. Love is a binder. Love is a binder. Why? Because it's energy. It's energy. It's electromagnetic energy. And it has a charge. And it's a conscious charge, because we are conscious species. So you see, love is this binding energy. And not only binds to others, but it also creates the most incredible things, because we're not only making love to have children, right? This duality, infinite virtuous cycle of sperm and egg is one. We also create with the love of our hearts, right? Other things outside reproduction and children. We create with our consciousness, with our self-awareness, you see. So we're an incredible species. We're an amazing species. This is our nature. This is our very nature. So this video is this. This video is that. It's understanding that it all starts, it's always the heart. It's always the heart. The heart. Yeah, because the heart of the male is what allows the male to have sperm in the first place, to be alive, so it can signal that. And then the heart of the female is the one that allows the female to have an egg in the first place. So then they come together because of the heartbeats and they procreate. And then their creation has a heart and is with the mom, inside of the mom. And it's this, you see, the heart is always there. And then and we love our children before they're born. Because the whole thing is about loving each other. If you come together as a family to have children, right? Regardless of whether it's a modern family or a traditional family, we love our children, right? We love them. Even before we know them. Because it's this energy, right? We're already bounding to this creation. This beautiful thing that we do, which is to love, which is our instinct. The highest energy of the human heart is love. And that's why we love, because it's our instinct. It has to be an instinct because it's the highest energy. And it's what makes us feel the greatest. Love is what makes us feel the greatest. The most joy, everything comes out of love. The love that we have for ourselves, the love that we have for our children, the love that we have for others, the love that we have for our creations, because we love what we do and we create, and the love that we have for the creations of others, and the love that we have for others. It's all this love, you see, reciprocal. Because love is signaling. You love and you love back. So you see, it's all about the heart. But then it's this beautiful, what creates that is obviously the love, the heart. But it's this infinite virtuous cycle that leads to life. Sperm and egg as one. And that duality, that polarity, that infinity leads to life, which is what? The human heart, right? The human heart. So we can love with our love of our hearts. Love to infinity, right? Love to infinity. And create and create and create and create and create. Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my mind. I'm going to read a few things and then this will be the end of this video. Remember, this video is infinite virtual cycle, sperm and egg together as one, creating life, who we are, the human heartbeat, infinity, who we are. Okay, so nature, visions, drive the missions, right? Electromagnetism, electrogravitics, telemetry comes as a result of that, right? The pride that is to be human. Big pride in there. Our species. We're proud creators. Okay? All the things that we do, the singularity of the human heart that allows us to do everything that we do, creating life and everything else. Energy is creation and creation is life. Love is creation. We love our creations. Yeah, just like we love our children. Love comes from the heart and the heart gives us life. Life is creation and creation is energy and love is the energy of creation. I love you all with all my heart, with all my might, and this is the way to be. It's just love is everything. Love is everything. Maturity leads to humility, understanding our nature as infinite eternal creators, as this huge energy of creation, love, who we are, this epicenter of the universe, this species, this wonderful species. Love is energy, love is life. Love is life. Life and love, they come from the same place, the human heart. Life is creation and creation is energy. Love is the energy of creation. And this is our story, the story of the human race, the human species, who we are, story of humanity. It started with the sperm and the egg coming together and creating beautiful life, right? Who we are as a species, who we are. Okay, this is who we are. This is who we are. Love is infinity. It's a virtuous cycle. Compass and sundial, you see, compass and sundial, who we are, identity and true self, purpose, time and energy, action, why, how, flow, true self, true north and destination as one, as compass, all our primary elements that we create with the energy of our heart. We manifest our free will, right? We're conscious and self-aware of our consciousness, of our existence, of everything. We understand that we exist, and that's because of the human heart. And we manifest these primary elements with the love of our hearts. And then we understand our nature as sundials, so we can stare at the sun, open the portal, build the bridge, and evolve to infinity. Use the energy of the sun coming through our eyes to evolve. We live to love and we love to live. We're co-creators of infinite eternities. This is who we are. This is our nature. This is who we are. This is our nature. We're sentient. We love. We're emotions. We're feelings. Love equals evolution. When we love, we evolve. Because it's the highest energy of creation. It's understanding that with love, we get to infinity. No fear, infinite love, this is our nature. Follow your heart, signs and signals. Go for gold and diamonds, do it all in, here and now. Love with all your heart, with all your might. Understand who we are. Why, how is the mechanism to manifest infinity. Why, how makes infinity come true through action. This is who we are as a species. We're an incredible species. We truly are. Okay, so we're sundials. Open our eyes, open our hearts, open our minds and stare at the sun. Open the portal, build the bridge. We are the biological scale of infinity. We are the creator. We are infinity. We are the singularity. We are everything that exists. We are eternity and the biological scale of it. This is who we are. This is what the DNA structure is. The human DNA, the body, the organs, the glands, we're infinite. We are the biology of infinity. Love is the highest energy of creation, and we are the biological expression of that. Infinite, eternal biology, evolution, singularities of all organs and glands, the resonance. We are the energy from the sun, self-awareness, consciousness, love, infinite love. We are the highest energy of creation. We are the human heart. Love is the flow of infinity. Love is the highest energy of creation. You see this beautiful virtuous cycle, infinite virtuous cycle of sun and earth coming together and created us. This level of consciousness and awareness. Our purposeful goals, love of our heart, so we can love our goals and create the most beautiful things. The human heart, the DNA, is the key. They come together in this virtual cycle, human heart and DNA key, and unlock our DNA structure of infinity so we can create and do incredible things. Parents and children, this beautiful, infinite virtual cycle, coming together and creating the most wonderful things. ourselves. We all children of someone. We all children of someone. We all came from a womb. From the egg and the sperm, this beautiful infinite cycle of creation that created lives as we know it. Sunlight and love coming together as one. Life and love. Love life. Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. We are the Republic of Planet Earth. This is who we are. We're the citizenry of the Republic of Planet Earth. All humans, if you have a heartbeat, you are a citizen of the Republic of Planet Earth. Who we are. Infinite eternal creators, co-creators of infinite eternities. Humanity, the citizenry, the defenders of the Republic of Planet Earth, the leaders of the Republic of Planet Earth. I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. I love you all.